Meatloaf's got a pretty bad rap, but when it's good, it transcends its ground-beefy log-ness. We all love ourselves a hot loaf, and these are the chain restaurants where you can get one, ranked from worst to first. Golden Corral has become a staple on the American dining landscape since first opening its doors in 1973 in North Carolina. Beginning with one restaurant, the chain has grown to almost 400 locations across North America. The chain serves up grilled-to-order steaks, pot roast, and fried chicken, as well as sides, salads, and desserts. But one of the offerings on the buffet menu is the meatloaf.
You know what's crazy?
That you can get a buffet to go?
Unfortunately, it's terrible. One non-fan described the dish as horrible, adding that it had the same bland quality as the pizza and pork chops. Another diner agreed, saying that the meatloaf tasted like something from an elementary school cafeteria. Several other unimpressed diners described the menu item as mushy and bland, dry and salty, and heavy on the filler. And that's how you land at the bottom of a meatloaf list. We see you, Perkins Restaurant and Bakery, with your relaxed, casual menu and cozy baked goods. Priced at roughly $12, Perkins' homemade meatloaf might seem like a bargain. Topped with a sweet and savory glaze, beef gravy, and crispy onions, all served with mashed potatoes and a side, this meatloaf sounds great on paper.
What? I'm in love.
Unfortunately, the meatloaf appears to fall short in all sorts of ways. Diners point to the taste and lackluster appearance of this loaf. The preparation of the dish has also come into question. One DoorDash reviewer posted, "Unappealing describes what I received. It looked like it was an order that was left under the heat lamp for a considerable time. The mashed potatoes were dry and pasty." Another diner on Yelp also was less than impressed, saying, "Meatloaf dinner was very flavorless." Cracker Barrel is an iconic American chain with over 660 locations, all of which stand testament to the appeal of its home-style comfort food. The menu features an all-day breakfast, southern fried chicken, and other crowd pleasers like mac and cheese. The restaurant also serves meatloaf with onions, tomatoes, and green peppers, with corn muffins or buttermilk biscuits.
You're always cooking up something.
Unfortunately, the meatloaf has failed to win over diners. One TripAdvisor reviewer complained, "The meatloaf was served cold, but the problem was not the temperature. It tasted like it had sawdust as a filler. It was not a meatloaf taste at all. Other ingredients did not mask the taste of the filler." Another reviewer on Facebook says that while the meatloaf was tasty, it was very small, adding, "It was almost see-through because it was so thinly sliced." Renowned for its American-style comfort food, Marie Callender's boasts a chain of restaurants and a vast frozen meal line. Over the years, the company has expanded its menu beyond bakery pies to serve classics like pot pies, steaks, and chicken fettuccine. There's also Marie Callender's baked meatloaf made with Angus beef, green peppers, carrots, and seasoning. The dish comes with mashed potatoes and veggies and mushroom gravy. It also comes as a meatloaf sandwich. On the positive end of the meatloaf scale, some customers have said that the Marie Callender's version is fantastic, moist, and flavorful. Others disagree, with one Yelper speaking for many, saying, "The portion was a size for a 4-year-old. Meatloaf had no peppers, no onions as advertised. It was bland. Horrible." Since its opening in 1977 in California, Claim Jumper Steakhouse and Bar has gained a reputation for large servings and classic American comfort food. Among other Claim Jumper classics, the restaurant's meatloaf recipe features beef, pork, and veggies. The meal is then served with mashed potatoes, roasted vegetables, and herb gravy. While some patrons have described the dish as delicious and, quote, "the bomb," not everybody shares this view. One customer cited too much filler, with another Yelper who ordered 2 meatloafs sharing, "One meatloaf had sauce all over it, almost trying to hide the grayish color of the so-called meat, and it was way too sweet. Second meatloaf was gray-looking and ordered with no sauce. Neither meatloaf was flavored or appealing to taste." Logan's Roadhouse prides itself on providing a laid-back, ultra-casual atmosphere. The menu features American staples like pork chops, chicken parm, and burgers, along with a grilled meatloaf with mashed potatoes, gravy, sautéed mushrooms, and beer-braised brewski onions.
How do you know you're in a Roadhouse? When the steak orders a beer before you do.
This meatloaf has garnered both good and bad feedback from diners, with several patrons calling it delicious and yummy. However, not all diners have been as impressed. One Yelper called it dry, while another reviewer claimed the meatloaf was very over-peppered as to cover the flavor. The homestyle meatloaf disappeared from Cheddar Scratch Kitchen's menu, only to return in October 2023. Known for its rich flavor and home-cooked appeal, the dish has been a favorite among patrons. When the meatloaf returned, one customer posted to Instagram, "My dad is going to lose his mind. He's been waiting for this."
We should organize a sit-in in the dining room of Cheddar's.
The dish features 2 slices of meatloaf topped with a gravy. One TripAdvisor diner claimed the meatloaf was even better than their mom's version, adding, "I have returned 5 times in the last 2 months. I really recommend their meatloaf." Others describe the dish as flavorful, tasty, and filling. But while it has many fans, this meatloaf is not immune to criticism. On the downside, one diner said that the dish comes with an overly sweet sauce, while another complained that their meatloaf arrived lukewarm and topped with a sauce that was already starting to harden. Outback Steakhouse is famous for its hearty steaks and iconic bloomin' onion, but another notable menu item is the spicy jam and meatloaf. Available as a lunch or dinner option, the dish is served with Fresno chili jam and peppercorn sauce.
Stop. I will find it.
The spicy jam and meatloaf has earned mostly positive feedback from customers, who seem to enjoy the zesty condiments and flavors. One Reddit reviewer describes the dish as tasting really good, adding, "It's actually pretty spicy. Not the most spicy thing in the world, but it was unexpected. You guys might enjoy. Shoot, leftovers were even better the second day." Another diner also loved the peppercorn sauce, noting that it reminds them of a mixture of Worcestershire, Tabasco, and ketchup. On the flip side, one customer isn't a huge fan of the texture of the meatloaf, describing it as mushy. Feel free to ignore that guy and get your Outback meatloaf on with the number 4 pick on our list. Unlike other chains that only serve one meatloaf option, Boston Market offers numerous variations of the dish, but the classic version is made with tomato puree, onions, and toasted breadcrumbs, all topped with a hickory-smoked barbecue sauce. Diners can opt for the chain's unsliced whole meatloaf or its homestyle meatloaf with 2 slices from the loaf, plus 2 sides. Boston Market also serves a kid's version of the dish, as well as the meatloaf sandwich, with lettuce, tomato, and cheddar cheese. There's also a frozen version of the meatloaf for fans to take home. While they may be biased, Boston Market's employees describe the meatloaf as, quote, "the perfect union of deliciousness." But diners tend to agree. One reviewer on Facebook posted, "I don't order meatloaf at many places because I think mine is pretty good and I have food allergies. But this meatloaf is awesome. Very, very good." Another customer on TripAdvisor says they asked the cook how they make their meatloaf so light and fluffy, reporting, "She said to use saltine cracker crumbs and add a cup of milk a little at a time after everything else is mixed. With a little more hand mixing, the cracker crumbs absorb the milk." The Cheesecake Factory has diversified its menu since the chain first opened in Beverly Hills in 1978. Initially focusing on desserts, today the restaurant serves a wide range of meals. One of the company's signature menu items is the famous factory meatloaf, served with mushroom gravy, grilled onions, and mashed potatoes, and buttered corn on the side. The Cheesecake Factory meatloaf has certainly garnered a loyal following. One TikTok user shared, "I am not the biggest meatloaf fan just because sometimes the texture weirds me out, but the texture of this is actually perfect. Meat is blended in, it has really good flavor, the gravy is awesome, and it is a humongous portion."
Look at that meatloaf. Winner, meatloaf dinner.
A YouTube reviewer shared the sentiment, posting, "It's really good. Portion size is amazing too. It could feed 2 people. Worth the money, and on a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a nice 8. Meet the number 1 loaf of your dreams. Steak 48 specializes in responsibly farmed prime cuts, hand-carved in-house, and wet-aged for 28 days. With such a reputation for quality, it's only natural that the chain's meatloaf stands out as one of its signature offerings. Priced at around $50, Steak 48's prime steakhouse meatloaf definitely doesn't come cheap, but the prime quality of this dish might just justify its steep price tag, at least according to loyal fans. Made with a blend of premium ribeye, filet mignon, and pork, this meatloaf elevates the classic comfort food to a truly gourmet dining experience. The black truffles bump up that price tag. The team at Steak 48 proudly refers to this sumptuous creation as the Meatloaf of Champions, a fitting title for a dish that has received glowing reviews from diners. One Yelp reviewer says that it's the best meatloaf they have ever tasted, adding, "It's a good protein option if you're not wanting a steak. Very nice and flavorful." Another fan on Open Table agrees, saying, "Never had better, and I have had a lot of meatloaf in my short 63 years. Several other patrons have also been impressed with Steak 48's meatloaf, describing it as being worthy of 6 stars. BTW, some locations don't have it on their menu, so you might be out of luck, but we assure you it exists, and it's great. Make sure you complain to management about it.